you ready for today's game. The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by Baptist Health, Farah and Farah, Geico, and by TIAA Bank. Now to get things started, here are Mike Dempsey and JP Shadrick.
Coming off back-to-back losing results, the Jaguars look to get back on track and back to 500 with an early season road trip to an old AFC Central Division rival with plenty of new faces. Today, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 1-2 visit the Cincinnati Bengals at 0-2-1. Kickoff coming up at Paul Brown Stadium at Cincinnati at 1 o'clock Eastern. Welcome into the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey. We're at the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field. And got to get back on track. A couple of losses last time out. A bitter taste after certainly a subpar showing on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, it was a big disappointment, obviously. Miami was the team you felt like you should compete with, and it certainly could beat. And the Jags offense really didn't show up. The defense has been bad all year, JP. They've allowed a lot of points in every game, so the offense is going to have to hold up their end of the bargain to have a chance to win some shootouts unless the defense improves dramatically. And help's not coming in the way of personnel, so they're just going to have to do a better job covering on the back end, giving their guys up front a little bit more time to get to the quarterback. There's a quarterback today they'll face in Joe Burrow that's been sacked 14 times, but that's 14 sacks on about 50 dropbacks a game. He's been thrown it 47 times, so if you factor in the sacks, he's averaged over 50 passing dropbacks a game. So they're letting it fly, and if the Jaguars pass rush doesn't get to Burrow today, it could be a long afternoon.
Currently cloudy, 55 degrees in Cincinnati, a high of 63 today, and rain in the forecast, 100% chance of rain around 3 o'clock. That's about the fourth quarter or so of the football game today at Paul Brown Stadium. Let's get to today's top stories, starting with the league's COVID-19 outbreak in Tennessee. Other positives in New England, and a false positive scare last night for New Orleans after arriving for their road trip. Questions, postponed games, and on the Doug Marrone Show this week, the head coach used the Titans news to remind the team to stay vigilant.
Yeah, I think it creates a great opportunity to, keep going back through the protocols and, just basically how much awareness you really need when you leave the building. Like I said, when you're within the building with obviously, like you see here, the contact tracers and, we're getting tested every day, but, that doesn't mean that someone can't go out that night and track the virus from somewhere and bring it into your building. And I think that's why, you just have to be careful and, it created an opportunity again, not that, we haven't stopped talking to our players about it, but it gives another opportunity to show you, how quickly this virus can spread.
All right. So the Titans-Steelers game has been moved to week 7. The Patriots and the Chiefs scheduled to play this afternoon. That could be Monday or Tuesday, depending. A lot of changes and a lot of questions.
Yeah, well, the Chiefs and the Patriots need to have negative tests across the board today because it wasn't just Cam Newton testing positive. Jordan Ta'amu, who's the scout team quarterback, ironically playing the role of Cam Newton at practice all week for the Kansas City Chiefs, also tested positive for COVID-19. So unlike where you had the Titans-Steelers game where the Steelers were isolated, they had nothing to do with it. It was all a one-team outbreak. Today, you're going to have to get all the guys on both teams to pass with no positive results for this game to definitely go on Monday or Tuesday. I think if I were a betting man, I would not bet on that happening.
The Saints, though, had a false positive.
They did.
After arriving for their road trip, which is good news. That game is on today.
Yes, that game is on. They had a fullback who tested positive. They had to go through the whole procedure, got him retested. It came back negative, so apparently it's one of those things. And, look, it's just the world we live in right now, JP. You got to be expecting the unexpected, unfortunately. But hopefully, like Major League Baseball, they had the trouble early on with the Florida Marlins. They had a couple of outbreaks, and then things really tightened up. And so hopefully this will serve as a warning sign. Hey, just because we made it through 3 weeks unscathed does not mean we're out of the woods, and we have to be as vigilant as ever if we're going to get this complete season in.
Let's get to today's game and the Jaguars' pass rush, or lack thereof so far. Josh Allen, though, knows the stats around the sacks and hits on Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. He's been sacked 14 times this year. That's the league high, and 31 quarterback hits on the first overall draft pick from this year. But Allen also understands that does not guarantee success in today's game.
I'm worried about how we prepare and how we're going to come and execute. Well, I know we got to do our thing this week, and I know they have given up a lot of pressures, which is, a good sign for us. We still have to do our job. We still got to get off the ball. We still got to rush passer as much as we can, and get them into situations where we can be able to rush the passer as much as we want. So our mindset, man, is just coming in, being the best us. Because like I said, man, like I be trying to tell everybody, they got to block us. And, we're not trying to have them block us or find a way to try to figure out block us. We got to get after them and show them that we're top dogs, and that's just our mindsets is going into this week, man. I'm really excited.
Tighter coverage could help that pass rush as well, according to Doug Marrone.
It's from both ends. It's from the guys up front. It's from the guys on the back end, making sure that we cover. And I've always said that, even when, I've been with teams that had a lot of sacks, all the media attention and attention around outside of the building was always on the players that are creating those sacks, but really the guys that are creating it are in the back end at times. If he's going to that first read and that first read's open, unless you just completely whiff, it's going to be very difficult to get guys down. So, we're working on this group effort to try to get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback.
All right, team effort there, Demps, to get home to Joe Burrow today.
Well, look, they've got a lot of weapons, so the coverage is going to be paramount today. When you look at the season Tyler Boyd is having right now, T. Higgins had the big game last week. A.J. Green's got a lot of targets. They haven't really connected a whole lot, but Alden Tate, John Ross, they can run a lot of guys. That's just the wide receivers. Joe Mixon and Gio Bernard coming out of the backfield, Drew Sample at tight end. They'll get all these guys involved. So Joe Burrow's not lacking for weapons. They're not all household names, but there's certainly guys that can get the job done, so the secondary will be challenged today.
Let's get to the offense for the Jags. Last week, Jay Gruden, the offensive coordinator, said he might have gone away from the running game a bit early.
I have to do a better job of staying on track as a play caller and not getting too panicky, so to speak. I got to make sure we stay on track and make sure we keep the run mixed in there with the pass. Last week against Miami, I probably got a little too pass happy, which is unfortunate. Puts our team in a tough position. Our tackles puts our quarterback in a tough position. So we got to do a good job of keeping balance.
Now, of course, the Jags were down 14 early in the game, gave up 3 straight touchdowns to the Dolphins to start the game for the Jags defense. So they were in a hole to begin, and that's been the case so far in every game this year. First 2 weeks, they were able to climb back out of that thing. Not the case last week. And part of the reason he thought there, as he said, he may have gone away from the run a bit early. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. 11 carries is not enough for James Robinson as well as he's playing, and this is a Cincinnati team that's been susceptible to the run so far this year, in large part because Geno Atkins and Mike Daniels haven't been healthy on that defensive line. They added DJ Reader this offseason, so he's a good piece there in the middle, but their defensive line has been suspect. They've been giving it up a lot on the ground. Robinson's been getting it done. I think they ought to feed the guy today.
Let's get to the quarterback. Gardner Minshew makes his 16th career start today in the National Football League, and the work on pocket presence continues.
It's definitely a work in progress. It's one of those things, kind of for me, the rule of thumb I've always had is like once you get through your progression, then you look to make something happen. If you're skipping reads and getting out early, then that's an issue. And then sometimes, it just works out, and then it's all good. And then it doesn't work out, and then it's all bad. So, it's a process we're working on, week by week. Got to be able to keep your eyes downfield and your reads as you feel the pocket, feel when you have space, feel when it's closing in too fast, and, adjust them.
And Gruden mentioned it as well this week that Minshew may have bailed a little bit early at times in the pocket. It just takes time. You got to learn and play to figure that out.
We got to remember he's just played basically one season in the National Football League, but, the rest of the league's not going to wait for you to catch up.
That's true.
This is the reality. Now you've got to be better than that, and he's got to, have better ball security in the pocket, something that he worked on towards the second half of last year and really improved upon. But you can't go back to those ways where you're sticking that ball out there in danger, and down 14, turning that ball over inside the 10-yard line was pretty much a crippling blow against Miami.
Running back James Robinson, the NFL Offensive Rookie of the month of September. Modest, quiet, hardworking. That's all great, but is the award cool to him?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. But, I mean, I kind of didn't – coming in today, I didn't think anything of it. I just kind of go about how I go about my day every day. And it just came up. And it was just kind of a surprise to me because I didn't know about it at all. And, yeah, so it's pretty – I mean, it is cool, though.
It is cool, indeed, to win the Rookie of the Month. 339 scrimmage yards for him so far in 3 games, and the guy came out of nowhere. A good story so far. Let's hope it continues.
Yeah, let's hope it does. And in terms of year-end recognition, it might not mean anything because, as we know, Gardner Minshew won 7 Rookie of the Week awards. He won the Rookie of the Month as well in September last year, and didn't even get invited to the party for the Rookie of the Year voting. So, look, we're just happy James Robinson's off to a good start. Year-end awards don't matter as much as the product on the field and winning and losing, and he's contributed as much to the success of this offense as pretty much anybody.
And finally, to Tyler Eifert, returning to Cincinnati for the first time since joining the Jags in free agency, a 2013 first-round pick by the Bengals. And he said he talked to MINSHEW about the number of looks he'll try to get against his former team.
Yeah, I think we're trying to get like 20 targets just because. I think you always want to play good, play well against your old team, but I don't want to be a distraction. I don't want it to be about me or anything like that. I mean, this team, we need to go in there and get a win and get this thing rolling in the right direction.
Did it ever seem like a realistic possibility that you would re-sign in Cincinnati? And even before that last year, did you ever feel like you were part of the new direction here?
I mean, they made it pretty much as clear as you can by just telling me they're not going to re-sign me. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting to go back there.
It is a business. Eifert now a Jacksonville Jaguar, and I'm sure he is hoping to get in the end zone a time or two today.
Who doesn't want to do that against their former team? You know, I bring this up all the time. You remember the year that Torrey Holt played one season with the Jaguars. He had one 100-yard game when the Rams were visiting, right? They made sure they got him the ball that day, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if Tyler Eifert gets a few extra looks in the red zone today.
Those are some of today's top stories. More coming up in the second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show. The Jaguars Game Day radio broadcast is presented by VyStar Credit Union. If you believe free checking is better, join VyStar. That's checking with no fees and no minimums. No kidding. At VyStar, they never forget it's your money. Each week we visit with the head team physician for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Dr. Kevin Kaplan, and this week we break down the Tennessee Titans COVID-19 outbreak.
I'm great. How you feeling?
I'm feeling well. The Tennessee Titans apparently are not feeling well. They've had a number of players test positive this week for COVID-19, and in fact, the game has been postponed to a later date. It's the first outbreak, if you'll call it an outbreak. I guess it's what is the technical term of an outbreak? I guess this would be it in the NFL, but it's the first time during the season this has happened, and it's a huge logistical challenge.
It really is. And you know, this is what we've been preparing for. And I think the NFL has taken the right steps in trying to control what's happened. We had, you know, a number of players that tested positive with the Titans, and the risk is how many other people were infected or exposed. And that's why we're all wearing these contact tracers to show who we interact with and you know, who we may meet up with throughout the week or throughout the game. And that's why we're all wearing masks. But the thing that we have to be careful of is if we have this certain amount of players that tested positive and they went and played a game, and let's say there are 2 or 3 more guys that may become positive, you don't want to then expose another team, which will then expose another team, and so on and so forth. So I think taking the step, while seemingly it seems drastic, is the right thing to do, because if we can shut this down, then we have a better chance of actually being able to continue and play through the season.
The good news, at least on the day that we record this interview on Thursday, is that the Vikings have not had any positives, and they played the Titans last week. That's a good sign.
That's an excellent sign. And that's why, you know, when we talked earlier this year about things like not meeting up in midfield and doing jersey swaps and wearing things on your masks while you play football, anything that we can do to decrease that risk exposure makes it potentially a better situation. So hopefully it was just a one-time incident with a certain amount of players on the Titans, and that's all we see. And then we kind of continue on in hopes that we don't have to deal with this. But I think everything that we've done up to this point in the NFL is trying to, number one, prevent this from happening, and number two, have some sort of plan when it does happen, because we're all in this environment in the world other than football. We're all being potentially exposed every day. And so something like this and trying to toe the line and play football and do things like that, we have to be prepared and take the best road to try to prevent a complete shutdown of the NFL.
Dr. Kevin Kaplan with us. Does this kind of reset things for the organization too? A wake-up call of sorts? Hey, guys, I know everybody's following the rules, but let's really be diligent about this moving ahead.
I think it definitely is a check, right? You know, we've been doing things very well here at the stadium, and I know I've been getting tested every day, and all the players and everybody in the building is getting tested every day. Everybody's walking around with masks and doing the appropriate things, washing hands and things like that. But certainly when something like this happens, it definitely kind of tightens things up a little bit and makes us all kind of consider, hey, we really need to continue to take this seriously throughout the entire season and be careful as we move along.
The comments of Kevin KAPLAN, the head team physician for the Jaguars, a weekly feature of the Publix Tailgate Show. And Farah reminds you to continue to wear a mask. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Farah protecting you and your family since 1979. We're just getting started on the Publix Tailgate Show. We're back in a moment with Terry Robiskie, Jaguars running backs coach. He'll give us some insight to James Robinson's start. What a start it's been for the undrafted rookie. The Jags and the Bengals coming up in Cincinnati. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Nothing kicks off your game better than a handful of Georgia peanuts. Power packed with protein, essential nutrients, and great taste. Georgia peanuts are the MVP for affordability, sustainability, and nutrition. To score life's touchdowns with recipes and fun facts, check out GAPeanuts.com. The perfectly powerful peanut is brought to you by the family farmers of the Georgia Peanut Commission.
Peanuts! Get your peanuts!
Hey Jaguars fans, are you ready to talk some trash? Well, nobody talks trash quite like Waste Pro, the official waste service and recycling partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Specializing in residential and commercial solid waste and recycling collection, processing, and disposal, Waste Pro is equipped to handle all your recycling and garbage removal needs. For service, call 904-731-7288. Waste Pro, caring for communities and caring for Jacksonville.
Why live with foot or ankle pain? If you have persistent pain, numbness, tingling, burning pain on the bottom of your foot, or swelling that doesn't improve with home treatment, it may be time to see Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our foot and ankle specialists have innovative new options to help you get back in the swing of things without persistent pain that slows you down. Call JOI 2000 or go to joionline.net for an appointment.
Hey guys, I want to take a break here because I'm so excited to talk to you all about this experience Eric Dunn and I are hosting this season called Jags at Home. This thing is for anyone that could use an extra $10,000. I mean, who couldn't? And the Jaguars are actually giving away $2,500 every quarter of every game to whoever predicts the outcome of the game most accurately. Will the Jaguars convert this third down? What will be the result of this red zone trip? If you think you know football and the Jaguars, why are you letting other people take this money that should be yours? It's not like if you top the leaderboard, you have a chance to win. If you top the leaderboard, you will win $2,500 every quarter, every game. Seriously. So when you're watching the game every week, visit jagsathome.com on a mobile device, tablet, or even a desktop, and come get this money. Even better, you get to hang out with me and Eric Dunn while we chat it up during breaks. Again, that's jagsathome.com. We'll see you there.
Jaguars Game Day is presented by ViStar Credit Union. JP Shadrick along with Mike Dempsey at the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field. Publix Tailgate Show rolls along. Jags and the Bengals coming up at Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. Kickoff time set for 1 o'clock. And this portion of the Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by your Southern Ford dealers. James Robinson has been an unbelievable storyline so far in this 2020 campaign. Undrafted rookie out of Illinois State. And he comes through and gets the starting job as the running back. And then as the starter, he's put together 339 scrimmage yards in 3 games. He's the offensive rookie of the month of September. And This pace would be fantastic for the entire season, but it feels like there could be a little more ahead if they can just hand him the football a little more.
If they can stick with the run game, he's on pace in terms of yardage to basically match what Leonard Fournette did last year. He's well ahead of his touchdown pace. He's already matched the 3 that he scored last year, and that's, I think, in part a testament to the fact that James Robinson always seems to be moving forward, right? He doesn't get stuffed for loss very much at all. If there's 1 yard to be had, he might get you 2. He's always, quickly moving upfield, getting everything that's there, and getting a little more than everything that's there as well. We've seen some really nice runs, making guys miss. They've started to get him the ball in the passing game as well. That should continue to grow because he's shown he can handle it. So, yeah, sky's the limit right now, JP.
Let's hear from running backs coach Terry Robiskie. He's been in this league a long, long time, and he can actually relate to how Robinson came into the league, plus a little more insight on what could still be improved in the coming weeks for the undrafted rookie.
Always a pleasure to chat with you, Coach. Here we are, week 4. We're in October already. Can you believe that?
That's hard to believe, but listen, there's so many things that have happened this year and this season that's just, it's hard to imagine. So this is another one. We're already in October and look like we got here yesterday.
Let's get into your guys this week. James Robinson, of course, the offensive rookie of the month in the NFL, 339 scrimmage yards. But, you hear him talk this week, and he's modest. He's kind of quiet. That's his personality. But you got to love it for a kid like this to come in and play that well.
It's been fun just to watch him and to be there with him, to be a part of it, to be a part of that growth, to kind of sit and visit with him and be with him in the room. Like you say, he's a very modest kid. He's fought through it a little bit. I was a guy that back in the day, it was a 12-round draft. The draft was 12th round, and I got picked in the 8th. So, I know that feeling of nobody wanted me, nobody wanted you. And then I made it. And I think for a guy like that, I could really relate to him. He had a hell of a senior year, a lot of yard rushing, a lot of touchdowns. You're sitting there thinking, I'll go to first. Maybe I'll go to first day. Oh, no. Well, maybe I'm going to go to second day. Well, we in 4. Maybe I'll go in 5. And then you don't go. And then all of a sudden you're feeling bad. And then you get here and you find out, oh, you know what? They're just playing football. I could do that, and to sit down and watch him every day just get more and more comfortable with the system, more and more comfortable with what we're doing, and to watch him just keep growing and growing is fun, it's challenging, and I'm having a good time with it. I'm having a fun time with it. We still got a long ways to go, but it's just fun watching him develop every week and getting better.
Terry Robiskie with us, Jaguars running backs coach. We always hear, at least so far early in the season, we've heard about his great vision as a running back. Is that something you can teach a running back? Is it a natural reaction? Take us through what that actually means.
You always kind of give him a direction of what we're trying to do. You're trying to point out to him. You get with the O-line and you kind of sit there and you're watching your tape and you kind of tell him where we think it's going to go. It's one of those, hey, if they do this and do that, we're going to hit it in the A gap or, we're going to hit the 2-hole, whatever it is. And then something happens, just like I can tell you right off the bat, like we played in Indianapolis here, and we kind of had one maybe backed up. We ran a belly to the left, and he stepped up there and jumped outside and went for 12 and got us a first down, which was big for us at that point in time. That's not coachable, and that's what I told him. The minute he jumped out there, I start screaming, don't go out there. Oh, good job. So, it's one of those when you tell a guy, let's not do this, because more times than not, it'll be a negative play. More time than not, you'll lose yards. And then the guys that's got that vision that could see what you can't see, because I'm on the sideline, and even when I get the little projector there on the sideline, when I get the little iPad, I still can't see it. You know what I mean? But something told him it was there. He saw it. He hit it. He took it, and it works out pretty good. That's just something we tell him. That's just something God gave him, and ain't nothing I can do about it.
Coach, you mentioned it's a long way to go. What are some things he's working on? What can he improve upon as we move into the second quarter of the season here?
He's just got to continue to work like he's working, continue to work hard. That's just a bunch of little things that he's got to get more consistent with. His step, his footwork, just keep that going. The big thing we emphasize in our room is we want to be a north and south runner. Let's don't spend too much time east and west. It's a north and south game. He's just got to, you and I talking about his vision. He's got to use his vision, but after that, he's got to use his feet. and he's got to continue to get down low, be low, and be behind his pad, which is something I emphasize to him every day. We all, in professional football, in any football, we all got to always continue to work on protecting the football and secure that thing and put that thing away, because that'll cost you the game in a heartbeat. And he's just got to continue to work hard on being north and south. And like I tell him, every time he jumps outside in practice, I said, "What are you trying to get on ESPN? That's an ESPN play, And I told him, I know that little home. I said, little hometown you from. I can tell the way you talk. You guys probably don't have ESPN. I said, but obviously you're trying to get on ESPN. You're jumping outside, think you're going for the home run. I just told him, don't ever get tired putting $5 in the bank. Go get me 5 yards. Go get me 5 yards. And the great thing about it is he hear all of us say the same thing. Coach Middleton has a big saying that go get what we need and then get what you want. And I love it, and Coach Ron's been coaching for a long time. And I have Coach Ron tell it to him almost every day. Go get what we need. We need 4. Go get what we need and then get what you want after that, So we just got to keep going with him and keep him growing. And of course, we got to go win some games. We got to win the game.
Terry Robiskie, longtime NFL assistant, and always a pleasure to visit with there. Some great insight to James Robinson's start. Bonus interview pieces from the conversation, including how Chris Thompson fits into the room all of a sudden, available now on the official Jaguars podcast network presented by ViStar.
Yeah, I love what he says there. Go get what we need. If you get your 4, you could pretty much, then it's on you to go get your ESPN style points or whatever. But we need 4 every carry. And if you can do that consistently, you're going to have a really successful running game. He's averaging 4.9 yards a carry through 3 weeks. You're not always going to have a 4-yard carry to make it to that number, but that's the mindset I think that they want him to have.
The Jaguars have introduced Jags at Home, an interactive second screen experience on game days featuring Ashlyn Sullivan and Eric Dunn. They're getting ready for the broadcast as we speak. Each Sunday you'll have the chance to win $10,000 in cash and prizes. Visit jagsathome.com and you can play and win. We'll return on the Publix Tailgate Show with CBS Sports play-by-play broadcaster Tom McCarthy. He'll give us his view of the Jags early in the season, heading into Week 4, and his view of covering Major League Baseball and the National Football League during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Jags and the Bengals coming up in Cincinnati, and from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Jaguars fans, Brian Sexton here. I've discovered something that will take your tailgates to the next level this football season. Bernie Grills. You've never seen anything like these portable all-wood grills. Bernie's are convenient, affordable, and simple to use with no messy cleanup. Bernie's real alder wood flavor makes burgers and brats taste delicious. I grilled some steaks on mine the other night, and they were incredible. So get your Bernie Grill for the next game at BernieGrill.com or at Amazon. Bernie Grill. Light. Grill. Done.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports-watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Brooks Rehabilitation outpatient locations throughout Florida are currently open and accepting in-person and telehealth appointments. They're following CDC guidelines to include screenings, temperature checks, face masks, social distancing, and additional sanitizing of all surfaces. They're taking extra precautions to ensure your safety so you can focus on your recovery. Please call their central intake unit at 904-345-7277, option 3 to schedule your visit. Brooks Rehabilitation is the official rehabilitation provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Some things make a house your home. Like clean, fresh sheets that make a bed with the soothing scent of fabric softener your thing. When drying clothes with natural gas, you get faster, gentler drying times, save money, and earn a rebate up to $150. Your home. Our safe, reliable, efficient energy. Love natural gas. Find rebate details at peoplesgas.com.
The Publix Tailgate Show rolls along. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park Studio at TIAA Bank Field. The Jags and the Bengals tee it up today at 1 o'clock. And on the call today for CBS Sports, Tom McCarthy, the TV voice of the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Phillies had an early exit, by the way. They're not in the postseason. So Tom McCarthy back on the NFL on CBS. Comparing COVID-19 logistics between sports is an interesting conversation, how MLB dealt with it, how the NFL is dealing with it, and quarterbacks in today's game, the focus of this conversation.
With the call of the game today on CBS Sports, it's our good friend Tom McCarthy back in the National Football League after baseball season. Tom, it's good to talk to you.
Well, it's good to talk to you too, JP. It's a little earlier than I thought from a Phillies standpoint, but it's nice to be back in the NFL.
Right, and it's strange times, obviously for all sports. But let's go back to your time with baseball this year. That was the first sport to really come back after the COVID-19 pandemic started. It took a little while to get there, but they finally got to the season. And now you're back to covering the National Football League as well. They've had a little more time to get ready for the season. What has your experience been like so far covering baseball during the pandemic and now shifting over to the NFL? How difficult an adjustment has it been for you?
I think the biggest thing is, the lack of sort of everyday interaction, A, with the fans, B, with the players, and with the coaching staff. That's the toughest part. Calling the games off the television while the team is, let's say, in Miami and we're in Philadelphia, that you kind of got used to as the year went on. But I just think the overall interaction, and I think it's the same way with the National Football League, our interactions are very limited. There's no day of game interaction. Like today, I can't walk down to the turf at Paul Brown and see everybody. Everything is through Zoom or Google Meet or Microsoft Team. So I've become a little bit more like you, well versed on how to get on, get off, get recorded, and edit these different Zoom, Google Meet, and Microsoft Team interviews. So that's the toughest part. But I've told people that the biggest thing is we have games, we have a chance for people to have a little normalcy, and if that will get us back to 100% normal, then I'm all for it, and we'll all adjust as we go along.
And as soon as we say we're somewhat back to normal in the NFL, then we have our first outbreak in the National Football League of COVID-19. The Tennessee Titans had a number of positive tests this week. Their game against the Steelers is postponed to a later date, possibly Week 7. This might not be a one-week issue for the Titans. This could drag on for a little bit.
It dragged on in baseball, not only with the Marlins, but also with us. For us, it was 7 days. For the Marlins, it was a little longer. For the Cardinals, it was a little longer. So you have to adjust as you go along. And I think you have to be as open-minded as possible, that the health of the players and their safety is of the utmost importance. And I thought Mike Tomlin on Thursday said it really well. Well, this means you're going to have to play every week for the rest of the year. And he said, we don't care. And you know what? In reality, I don't think people will care. I think they want to just get the season in. And for every successful season, even with the speed bumps, and this is a speed bump, it means we're closer to the next season being better and more manageable. So I think the NFL will learn from this and be better as we get along with it. And I think that's a good thing. But it may be longer than a week. I don't think anybody should be shocked if the Bills and the Titans game a week from today is postponed as well, or at least moved another couple of days. That could definitely happen.
Let's just hope you're calling it still in week 5.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Tom McCarthy with us from CBS Sports. He has the call of the Jags and the Bengals today. All right, let's get to the game. The Jags are 1-2. They have a 2-game slide going after an opening week win, but they're going on the road this week to face a Bengals team that is in rebuild mode. They have the number 1 overall draft pick quarterback in Joe Burrow. And watching the Bengals, Tom, it's amazing to see how much of a beating this guy has taken already this year.
8 sacks last week in that Eagles game, and the one he took in the second half, I didn't think he'd get back up. I really didn't. But he is a tough kid. He definitely is. Talking to the Jags coaches on Thursday, I mean, they have a lot of respect for him in a sense that he does get up, that he is tough, but he's also has the ability to dump off these passes at 5-10-yard chunks, which I think is going to be a concern for the Jags today. And I think what they're going to try to do is bump and diverts as many routes as possible in order to have a little bit more success than they had against the Dolphins. But he's good. I think he's going to be a really good player in this league. I think he's going to be a diverse player in this league. And I do think that they're getting better with their special players. JP, the oddity of the whole thing is Joe Mixon is going along the same path he went along last year. The first 3 games, he barely even ran for 200 yards. Well, he didn't run for 200 yards, and he's in that same mode again this year. It'll be interesting to see how they utilize him today.
He's got a little bigger bank account this year than he did last year, too, though, by the
way. Yes,
which
he
is
does.
Good for him. At some point, they'll give him the football a little bit more. Tom McCarthy with us. Gardner Minshew, he's starting his 16th game in the NFL today against the Cincinnati Bengals. What have you heard from Gardner this week about his mindset and his approach moving ahead now in year 2?
Well, I think the biggest thing that he talked about this week was just being able to read the plays a little bit better. I mean, he obviously had that overthrow on that wide open touchdown attempt to Conley, and I think that was eating at him during the course of this week. I really feel like the Jags, even though they went down their last game against the Dolphins, I think in hindsight, they felt like they abandoned the run way too early in the first half. And I don't think they're going to do that. And I think you've seen it more than I have, but Robinson is a really special kid. It's shocking that he was undrafted, but I think they're going to utilize him a little bit more. And I think that, the fact that DJ is going to be back is definitely going to help them because, Conley missed a couple of passes that could have changed that first half a little bit against the Dolphins. So I think that, with DJ back, at least that's the hope. I think it could help Minshew a little bit more in getting the ball downfield a little bit more often.
Tom McCarthy with us, CBS Sports. He has the call of the Jags and the Bengals coming up at 1 o'clock. Hey, it's always great to visit with you, and I hope we get to see you again down the line very soon.
Yeah, I'm missing Food Truck Fridays. I know we don't do it as often, but I know they're around the Jacksonville area, so I look forward to them all the time.
I'm missing Food Truck Fridays. I'm not at the stadium anymore. I can't go in.
That's true.
The world has changed. Have a great call.
All right, thanks, JP.
Tom McCarthy with the call on CBS. Yes, the Jaguars, it's been a couple of years since Tom has been here in Jacksonville because they used to, on Fridays, have Food Truck Friday as lunch for the staff and players around here. That's what he was referring to there.
I thought he paid a lot of attention to what went down in last week's game. The drops by Connolly were big in that game, and I thought he was absolutely right about his analysis of that. They could have been different, but you hate that you feel that if you have one drive-killing play, it just sets you so far behind. And that's what it felt like when Connolly had that drop on second down. It would have been a first in Miami territory last week on the opening drive for the Jags, already down 7-0, couldn't convert the third, and you just feel like you're playing uphill the rest of the day.
Thanks to Tom McCarthy for his time. And remember, John Party will headline the first ever live drive-in concert experience in Jacksonville. The concert's coming up in Lot J, adjacent to TIAA Bank Field and Daly's Place, Friday and Saturday. That's this coming Friday and Saturday, the 9th and 10th. Tickets available to purchase per car. The maximum capacity limited to the number of seat belts per vehicle. Visit Ticketmaster.com for more. Time now for our weekly visit with Jag sideline reporter Rick BALLOU, presented by McGowan's Heating and Air. We call it Has Rick Lost It?
Slow starts, yep, it's been the theme of the 2020 Jaguars. Everyone's aware of it. Heck, everyone's been talking about it. Doug Marrone doesn't avoid the questions. He's trying to figure it out. Jay Gruden, who's off to a great start, perhaps they abandoned the run a little bit too quickly a week ago Thursday night. He got into it. Todd Wash has been under some fire. He's trying to figure out, how do you make a defensive stop? The team hasn't been able to do it early on. Gutted by Indy in week one, had the goal line stand on that second drive. But you look at what Tennessee did, you look at what Miami did, the defense is giving up touchdown drives to begin the game. The flip side, offensively, they can't score. A clip of 35-7 in the first quarter this year. This team's in a coma. They just sleepwalk. I've never seen anything like it. You just wish you could flip that switch and immediately get to quarter number 2. Why? Look at what they've done so far this year in 3 games, the last 3 quarters, second, third, and fourth. They've only allowed 47 points. You add that up, divided by 9 quarters, that's 5.2 points per quarter. Okay, that's not tremendous, but it's certainly manageable. Certainly with this offense, you could win games. It's what they're doing in the first 15 minutes, which is problematic. And you add to that the fact that now Cincinnati, which is better than what their record would indicate, has only allowed 10 points in the first quarter this year. Hopefully they win the coin toss, take the ball. Or if Cincy wins the coin toss, they defer, Jags take the ball. Not going to be a situation where the fans affect the game. No question about that. Will the Jaguars get things going early? All I'm asking for is this. How about a 7-0 lead? Jacksonville. That's it. That's all I ask.
Has Rick Lost It? Presented by McGowan's Heating and Air, proudly keeping your family comfortable since 1974. Call 904-264-COOL. I don't think he's lost it. 7-0 would be nice.
7-0 would be nice, but one more than the Bengals have at the end of the game would be better. So I like the fast start. Hopefully they'll have the strong finish.
When we return on the Publix Tailgate Show, safety Josh Jones sits down with senior writer John Ozier in our Baptist Health Connection with a player. The Jags and the Bengals tee it up today at 1 o'clock in Cincinnati. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
At ViStar, we believe in better. And that means treating people better with friendly, personal service that's kept our members happy since 1952. A smile and personal greeting when you enter the branch, an online or phone chat for those quick questions, and a call center that's open every day. If you believe that great service is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
You're working from home. So how do you connect with coworkers and clients? With RingCentral, the #1 global communication solution for business. RingCentral makes talking, texting, collaborating, and video calls easy. And it's all on one platform. And when we say everyone should be connected, we mean it. It's why we're giving RingCentral free to educators, health providers, and nonprofits. Learn more at ringcentral.com. Welcome to the new RingCentral.
I'm Chantel Baker, fiance of DJ Chark. My fiance is always prepared with a game day plan, and so am I. I'm always looking for easy ways to save time, and Publix helps me tackle everything from pregame prep to postgame cleanup with prices that are never out of bounds.
This week at Publix, you can get $2 off when you purchase 2 of assorted varieties and sizes of Head & Shoulders, Pantene, Herbal Essences, and Aussie hair care products.
Available at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Jaguars fans, let's tackle social injustice together on game days with Selfies for Change. Visit TIAABank.com/selfies for change to take a virtual selfie with a Jaguars player and unlock a $5 donation to the Jaguars Foundation to help fight social injustice. Share your photo on Instagram or Twitter using hashtag Selfies for Change so more fans can be part of the movement. Join us on game days at TIAABank.com/selfies for change. TIAA Bank is the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Fall has arrived.
And football is in the air.
As your Jaguars return to action Sunday, October 18th at TIAA Bank Field. Be there as we introduce the Detroit Lions to Duval and our electric receiving corps. Single game tickets are still available at Jaguars.com or by calling 904-633-2000. Come see Gardner Minshew connect with Pro Bowler DJ Chark and breakout rookie Laviska Shenault in our annual Crucial Catch game. Limited tickets remain. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets today.
Jaguars Game Day presented by VyStar Credit Union. The Publix Tailgate Show rolls along. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey. The Jaguars and the Bengals kick it off at 1 o'clock in Cincinnati today. If the test of any Southern restaurant is how well it makes sweet tea and barbecue, Crystal has stepped up to the plate. The South's original quick-service chain is launching pulled pork Memphis barbecue sliders, available now through mid-October. A limited-time-only menu item boasting juicy, slow-smoked pork slathered in Memphis barbecue sauce and topped with a hint of pickle on a freshly steamed bun for $1.69. Visit your local Crystal today. They bring us food each week.
They do.
And they usually bring those pulled pork sliders.
And they're delicious.
They are.
As you'd expect them to be.
Grab a sackful.
Why not?
For your game day routine. Be sure to catch the latest archives of all Jaguars.com and Jags radio shows on the official Jags podcast network presented by VyStar, including the Ozone podcast. And time now for the Baptist Health Connection with the player. This week, an excerpt from that podcast with Osher's guest safety Josh Jones. And Jones discussed refocusing in his career and getting back in the game after nearly being shut out.
Everything you've heard from coaches who've talked about you is that somehow when you first got here back in January, you managed to make such an impression in terms of how serious you were going to be taking this moving forward. You signed as a practice squad guy last year. What did you do? When did you realize how much you had to turn it on in that respect?
Well, I understand my abilities. I feel like the worst thing you can do with, God-given talent is waste it. And I feel like once you have an opportunity that presents itself, then you have to take full advantage of it. You have to do everything in your power to seize that opportunity. And I feel like that was my whole mindset going into this year. I said if the Jaguars, they give me an opportunity, and I'm just gonna run with it, and I won't look back. And I thank Coach Marone, and I thank the personnel. I thank Mr. Caldwell for bringing me in, and just, giving me an opportunity to be a part of this team. I'm beyond thankful, because obviously I could have been anywhere else. Probably, I don't know where I could have been, but
Sure.
I'm just thankful for the opportunity, and just continue to just keep pressing forward.
Now take me through your process. You're with Green Bay, and then you're out of football for 3 or 4 weeks before you signed with Dallas last year.
Yeah.
And you've talked extensively about it, and you bared your soul with it a little bit on the conference call, but it was fascinating that you really realized during that time, hey, I've got to change a little bit. I've got to approach this thing differently.
With a lot of things, people can point the finger. You can say it was this person's fault or that person's fault, but at the end of the day, you wake up every morning, and you look yourself in the mirror. So a lot of times you have to look yourself in the mirror. The guy in the mirror never lied to you. So you have to go back to, to where it all started. And that's what I did. I went back, to where it all started. Like, how did I get myself here? And that was, and not saying that I didn't do that when I got to the NFL, but it was just like, I had to rewire my focus, rewire, how I just went about my day every day, just being consistent. I truly believe that if you have a consistent approach with anything in life, we're just not talking about football, with anything in life, that you're gonna succeed. You can't be all over the place with, things that you do in your everyday life. I feel like if you have a consistent approach, You know your routine, because I'm a routine guy. I have to have a routine. I have to be on schedule. I have to do this at this time, this, and that. Once you have those things, and obviously if your faith is in line, then everything else just falls into place, and then it's just up to you. God just leaves it up to you. I'm like, hey, son, go take over the keys and go drive this thing.
So you come into Jacksonville with a renewed attitude. I think that's the right way to say it.
Yes, sir.
You have a great approach early. You're sitting there in January saying, okay, this is going to be my off season. And then in March,
COVID.
All of a sudden you can't get back in the building. That had to be a moment of, are you kidding me?
You know what? I was here those first 2 weeks before. I think the NFL said, I think around like the second or third week of March that, they're going to close all facilities. So 2 weeks, I came and worked out, here. I was here in the facility. I was here working out, because that's where I was going to be, this offseason. I was just going to, be in the facility all the time, work out, get familiar with everything, the coaches and everybody. But I mean, once COVID hit and they shut down everything, I didn't really look at that thing. I didn't really look at it as a negative. I know a lot of people, it's unfortunate that everything that's happened this year, but I honestly, this year has helped me more than it has any other year. It gave me a chance to really, one, be around my kids more. Two, really focus on myself, because it's like you what else did you have to do? I feel like I came out of this thing. Well, we're still in this thing, but you come out of the off season a better person. Mentally, you're refreshed. You're able to really sit down with yourself. Okay, where do I lack? What areas do I lack? You turn those weaknesses into strengths.
Josh Jones, Jaguars safety, the Baptist Health connection with a player this week. Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good. The full conversation with Jones on the Ozone podcast presented by ViStar on the official Jaguars podcast network. And he's playing well so far.
He's playing very well. He's all over the place, padding the stat line, and you love the attitude, JP, that, look, COVID is what it is, right? And, fans are going to have to get used to that if games are interrupted, whatever. And, you can dwell on that. He said, hey, I use that to give me time to focus on what I needed to improve on. And obviously he caught the attention of the coaching staff, and they were willing to move on from Ronnie Harrison. And so far it looks like a really good move.
Jaguars Director of Player Development Marcus Pollard takes us inside the team each week, this time headed into week 4.
Marcus Pollard, how are you?
Holding it down.
Some things never change. You hold it down every week.
Every week.
Every week. And the Jaguars are trying to hold it down on the road this week in Cincinnati after a 1-2 start, a loss on Thursday Night Football last week. It's got the feeling, Marcus, that at this point in the season with this road trip and then a road game next week, back home after that, then a bye, the last 2 games have not gone the way the Jaguars have wanted. It's a young team. I don't want to say it's a crossroads kind of moment for the season, but it has an early season feel of that. Do you agree?
Yeah. I agree with JP because, at this point to play as efficiently as we did versus the Colts and then come out, especially last week, and play against the Dolphins on national TV and the way we did and not have that performance. I think this week going to Cincinnati, it's an opportunity for our team to get back on track. And because we're such a young team, it could be a pivotal point for us early in the season to get a win. Not there's any added pressure, but I think it's an opportunity for us to go against a team that's really searching for identity as well and to get a win and get that good feeling about ourselves and then have another road game next week against another tough opponent.
Well, one of the bright spots, certainly this early part of the season for the Jags, has been the play of James Robinson, the undrafted running back out of Illinois State. This is not a fluke anymore. He's doing it every week.
To me, he's probably got more yards, as we said last week, than words he said in this building since he came here. So he's a really soft-spoken, quiet guy, humble and respectful that does his job week in, week out. And it's apparent on the field how well and efficient he's playing. And so to me, when you put a guy like that in there and you give him the football and he's making plays, you got to continue to ride him because he's doing such a phenomenal job.
The Jaguars last week had to play catch-up again. Yeah. They had a big piece of their offense missing last week in order to catch up. DJ Chark was not in the lineup last week. How bad did Jay Gruden and Gardner MINSHEW miss DJ?
I think our whole team, the defense included, missed a player like DJ Chark because he's so talented. You can throw the ball up to him. He can go up and get it out of the air. He can run routes and catch it on the ground and cross it up the middle. And so when you mention such a talented player, not only does a quarterback and the offensive coordinator miss a player like that, the entire team did. And to have DJ miss, I'm not saying we lost the game because of DJ, but it did make it a lot more challenging not to come over to victory and put up some points and come back after being down 2 scores early, not having DJ on the field, obviously played a big part in that.
Another part of the Jaguars offense, as we always, most times, ask you about the tight end position. Tyler Eifert is headed back to Cincinnati. He spent his entire career with the Bengals until this year. That's got to mean something when you go back to a place where you spent so many years.
Yeah, I think it does. I never had the opportunity to, as a player, to go back to a place and play where I had just finished playing. But I think it's a great opportunity for Tyler to show, that he can still play, that he's still a great kid and a great player. And he's done nothing but that for us. He's been a great leader. He's making plays. He's playing a position. And to me, that's a great thing. And I'm excited about the opportunity for him to go back and see some of the faces, the coaches and players that, he spent so much time with over the years.
It probably feels better when you see those faces when you're standing in the end zone with the football, right?
Absolutely. Or we're taking a victory at the end of the game. It's even better.
Josh Allen, Caleb Unchason, DeJuan Smoot, those guys have to be licking their chops and ready for this week.
You would have to think so. When I look at the stat line, he's throwing the ball anywhere between 50 and 60 times a game, and sometimes more than that. And then to be hit that many times and sacked that many times. But it's a time for us to get off the snide when it comes to sacks. And we always say here that they come in bunches. Well, hopefully this week they come in bunches. Each one of those guys get 2 or 3 and get us back on track.
2 or 3 sounds pretty good. I don't know
what. I'm talking about each, JP, not 2 or 3 as a group. I'm talking about.
I know. That's a lot of sacks. That would be a nice day at the office.
Let's go. They come in bunches, right?
Stack them up. That's what we're going to do.
Stack them up, sack them up.
Marcus, good stuff. We will get your high school player of the week and coach of the week coming up in just a moment. We'll talk to you again next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, JP.
Marcus Pollard joining us each week on the Publix Tailgate Show. And now the CSX high school players of the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, Dayan Rawls of Lee High School, running back 5'9", 175 pounds, entering his junior year. He's a first-time starter and had 15 carries for 98 yards and a win over Mandarin. This week, Miles Montgomery from Fletcher High School. He is an early commit to the University of Cincinnati. 220 yards on the ground, 35 carries against Atlantic Coast. So congratulations to Dayan Rawls and Miles Montgomery. The Whataburger High School coaches of the last 2 weeks. Last week, Sean McIntyre of the Creekside Knights. They had a huge win over Bulls. Congratulations to Coach McIntyre for last week's award. This week, Robert Shields of Baldwin. They knocked off University Christian to stay undefeated. They're now 4-0 early in the 2020 campaign. Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer, the Hella Mega Tour, one night. 3 of rock's biggest bands at TIAA Bank Field, July 31st, 2021. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Coming up, the second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show. Our visit with our resident first-rounders, Tony Baselli and Jeff Loggeman on deck as well. The Jags and Bengals coming up at 1 o'clock. And this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Oi.
Bonjour.
Xin chào.
Добрый день.
كيف فينا نساعدكم?
¿Cómo te podemos ayudar?
If you have an accident, the last thing you should have to worry about is a language barrier. That's why at Farah & Farah, we have a team as diverse as our clients. So no matter what language you speak, we'll fight for your voice. Farah & Farah, here for you.
نحن هون للكل.
Ici pour vous. Aquí para todos.
Here for all. Jacksonville.
Every 51 minutes, someone dies in a drunk driving crash. If you think it can't happen to you or that your actions won't affect others, think again. I got behind the wheel drunk and caused a crash that took the lives of 2 young women. Before you drink, have a plan and know all your options. One bad decision can last forever. Take it from me, Eric, prison inmate P22679.
This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
If something's been hurting, aching, or bothering you, don't ignore it any longer. It's time to take care of your health again. It's time to make an appointment with a Baptist Health primary care doctor or specialist. Call 904-202-4U to schedule a virtual visit or see a doctor in person at a Baptist Health location. The time for better health is here. Call 904-202-4YOU or visit getbetterjacks.com.
Jaguars fans, game day is back. And this year we've teamed up with Jameson to add another win to your week with official Jaguars and Jameson branded collectible stadium cups. They're only available for a limited time in the Jacksonville metro area. So grab yours today, pour a smooth Jameson, ginger and lime, and cheer on the Jags with Jameson. Taste responsibly. Jameson Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof, product of Ireland, copyright 2020, imported by John Jameson Import Company, New York, New York.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
Welcome back. Second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey at the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field. 1 o'clock kickoff time. Week 4. Jags trying to get back to 500 after a 2-game slide.
Yeah, they are. A quick note, the latest from Adam Schefter of ESPN indicates that the Chiefs' point-of-care COVID-19 testing today came back negative, which is what you're hoping for.
Good.
The previous report was that the Patriots did as well. As of now, Schefter is saying that game will be played tomorrow night at 7:05. It will be a nationally broadcast game, I believe, on CBS, and the Monday Night Football regularly scheduled game will be pushed back their kickoff to about 8:50. So you figure by the time the first one is going to halftime, the second one's kicking off, that kind of thing, and, there you go. So, you get a doubleheader if it works out this way, but keep your fingers crossed that we'll have as close to a full slate as possible this week.
It's pretty amazing that, as the hours go by this morning, the news changes every hour. There's an update. Tests come back negative, and that can change, and that can go the other way too.
Well, we know this, though, JP. They don't test on game day.
Right.
So if they clear testing today, you would think that there's nothing really standing in their way from playing that game. The Patriots would travel tomorrow. They were given the option of playing Tuesday. Apparently, both teams preferred to play Monday because they didn't want to then turn around and have an incredibly short week to prepare for their next game. So, it's not ideal either way when you throw your schedule out of whack, but it looks like this game will be part of a Monday night doubleheader.
Let's get to today's top stories for the Jags and the Bengals matchup at Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. And rookie running back James Robinson was named the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Month. 339 scrimmage yards, the most for an undrafted player through 3 career games in league history. He's modest, of course, and has explained why this week.
I like to go about it like I don't want to be surprised by anything that I do, because for me, I want to go out there and play the same or even better every time, and helping out the team, and just playing my role and doing my job and helping my teammates out.
Can they feed him a little more in the running game to help if they weren't down 2 scores early?
That'd be crazy not to. I mean, really, right? Against this team, very struggling run defense and very exceptional young running back who's doing so well for himself. He is your offensive MVP through 3 weeks. Why not get the ball in his hands as many ways as you can today, running it, catching it out of the backfield, keep that part of the game plan as well. Jay Gruden laid it right out there. Shouldn't have gone away from it as much last week. JP, you look at the case of the Rams and the Bills last week. The Bills got up huge in that game. The Rams never went away from Darrell Henderson. And although they ultimately gave up a lead late, they came all the way back because they stuck with what was working, which was the running game last week, and they got them back in the football game. So hopefully a lesson learned there.
The Jaguars kicking situation is far from ideal. Josh Lambo on the reserve injured list with a hip issue, still has a little bit of time there. Brandon Wright suffered a groin injury in his NFL debut last week in his place and was waived injured. The Jags worked out and signed 13th-year veteran Steven Hauschka, but he's on the injury list with a knee issue and is questionable for the game today. The Jags have upgraded Aldrick Rosas to the active roster for today's game. Doug Marrone on Friday explained the week for kickers.
Aldrick Rosas did get all the kicking this week, Mark. You know what I'm saying? With Steven, it's something that it's just, kind of just basically overall soreness, so we're just kind of trying to be careful. We have the ability to game flex, and if we do that, I have no problem with Aldrick going in there. And then if something was to happen to him, then, Steven would go out there, but we'd have to use him on a type of limited basis and maybe move some things around.
Far from ideal. Could see, we'll see in about 30 minutes the inactives, but Rosas is on the roster today.
Stay out of the kicking room, apparently, right? I mean, it's something going on around there. Unfortunately, it's coincidental, but Rosas gets all the work this week, so it'll be, I guess, technically the third kicker to appear for the Jags, but the fourth Jags kicker on the roster this year. That was one spot you felt like was set in cement with Josh Lambo, as well as he has played since he came here to Jacksonville. Hopefully a speedy return for him.
4 kickers in 4 weeks. That's not good.
No.
Not a good pace at all.
No. And it's not because of lack of production. It's just,
injury.
Injury. Piling up one after another.
Offensive coordinator Jay Gruden is returning to Cincinnati this week. He was the coordinator there from 2011 to 2013. What kind of reception does he anticipate?
Probably not a good one. They're glad I left, probably. Who knows? I like Cincinnati. I have a lot of respect for the Brown family. Mr. Brown was very fair to his coaches and players. A ton of respect for them. Nothing but good things. Coach Lewis was a great coach to work for. We had some great young players. Andy Dalton, A.J. Green, Marvin Jones, Mo Sanu, Giovanni Bernard, Tyler Eifert. We had a lot of fun in those 3 years. Had a lot of success. Unfortunately, we didn't win a playoff game, which still leaves a bad taste in our mouth. Like I said, nothing but respect for that area and that organization.
Gruden at that time, remember, was like the hot name as an offensive coordinator. That's why he got the Washington job.
He did, and, he had mixed success there, but obviously I think he's done a nice job here. He took it on himself to blame himself for everything that went wrong last week. I think that plays well with a young locker room, but I think for the most part, we've seen him get a little bit creative, not predictable. We've seen wide receivers running wide open at times in the Jaguar offense. We've seen that for years, JP, on the other side, and wondered why can't we have that? And, apparently scheme matters a lot. So I just like his matter of fact, probably not going to get a good reception there. That's generally the case with a former coach.
DJ Chark back in the lineup this week. Gardner Minshew knows what kind of weapon he can be for this offense.
Yeah, anytime, you have a receiver that can win one-on-one and is consistent and, that always gives you some comfort and, calms the mind a little bit knowing that you have somebody that can win one-on-one every time. But we feel that way about a lot of our guys, and, we'll continue to try to build those relationships.
Let's keep those guys running open. DJ Chark missed last week's game with a chest and back injury he suffered on a 45-yard reception back in week 2. Now to the defense, Mike, and can they start faster this week? They've given up touchdown drives to open the game each of the first 3 weeks. Defensive coordinator Todd Wash says it's a fundamental issue.
We got to come out and kind of, execute early on. I was talking to our defense this week that, we're missing some things in the opening drives to be able to create, obviously, touchdowns within that first drive. But, I think we just got to really stick to our fundamentals and make the plays we're capable of making. And I think we'll get off on those drives. We had a great opportunity on 3rd and 7. We had a missed tackle that we should have got off the grass on Thursday night. So, a lot of it is we just got to clean up some fundamentals, and I think we'll get off the grass.
First couple of weeks, Mike, the opening drives were fairly quick strikes down the field. 3-play drive, I think, against Tennessee. Then they were in the end zone inside 2 minutes in the game. Well, last week was a 12-play drive, methodical, down the field, marching, and really the first 3 touchdown drives for the Dolphins were of that nature, the first and third especially. So, different ways to go about it the last couple of weeks, but the end result's the same, down 7-zip.
They're all bad, but I think it's actually worse when you give it the 12-play drive because that means you have that many more opportunities as a defense to make that one play that can end that drive at any point in time, whether it's the big sack, the turnover, just holding them on a series of downs and unable to do so. So, the one against Tennessee, they got Jonnu Smith loose. They lost him in coverage, and he hit that big play in the very first play of the game and flipped the field entirely. and it was 7-0 before you even kind of realized the game was underway. And so hopefully, whatever it is today, JP, I think we're going to see the Jaguars with the ball first, because I think if they win the toss, they're probably going to take the ball to mix things up. But Doug Marrone talked about that this week. And, typically if Cincinnati wins the toss, they're going to defer like most NFL teams do. I think the Jags are just looking to mix it up today, and hopefully that'll work. First, second, third, fourth, whenever you get the ball, you better score with it. Well, that would help, right? I mean, right. Or, if you're not letting the other team march up and down the field, you don't have as much pressure. But as we talked about earlier, when you are allowing those easy points early on, you get that one big drop pass, it really just can throw your entire offense out of rhythm. Those are some of today's top stories. The Jaguars Game Day radio broadcast is presented by ViStar Credit Union. If you believe no car payment for 90 days is better, join ViStar, a standard feature on new or used car loans. ViStar never forgets that it's your money. Time now for our weekly visit with the guru, David Lamb. Here he is with Lamb at Large.
The Jaguars can only hope they have their act in better shape than they did last week in an embarrassing loss at Miami. Today's opponent, Cincinnati, is beatable, but not if the Jaguars play like they did last week. Basically, they've got to do everything better, and that includes coaching, game planning, and play calling. Another poor start should have on Rashad Khan taking a close look at Marrone and his entire staff. At their best, the Jaguars are a bottom-tier team. Anything less, and they appear to be a notch above those dreadful New York teams. League-wise, the biggest story is about you-know-what. The coronavirus lurks and disrupts. Teams that have coronavirus issues will simply have to adjust and do the best they can. I'm not the first to say this, but it bears repeating. The NFL season might not be fair for all 32 teams. Everyone can whine and complain, but this is life in 2020. Before the coronavirus turned our world upside down, fairness and parity were the most important things in the NFL. Now the number one priority is simply completing a 16-game regular season for all 32 teams. Tennessee had to shut down its facilities this week. The Titans could do little to prepare for the Steelers. The game has been bumped back to later in the season. Neither team was happy, but that's the way it is. The owners should be happy under the circumstances. Their league is the only major American sports league not to have to deal with major adjustments. Well, at least to this point. Be prepared for it. There's likely to be more disruptions down the road.
The comments of David Lamb are a weekly feature of the Publix Tailgate show. And yes, David, we're already seeing some of those disruptions, the Patriots-Chiefs game. And, it's week 4. That won't be the last of this, I'm sure. Probably not, but we'll hope for the best. Let's hope for the best for sure. Farrah and Farrah reminds you to continue to wear a mask. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Farrah and Farrah, protecting you and your family since 1979. When we return, First Round's on us. Our weekly visit with our resident first rounders, Tony Baselli and Jeff Lageman. The Jags and the Bengals tee it up at 1 o'clock in Cincinnati. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio. Headquartered right here in Jacksonville, the CSI Companies is one of the fastest growing staffing firms in the nation. As a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI knows how important it is to find the right people for your team. See why some of Jacksonville's top companies choose CSI for their staffing needs. Visit thecsicompanies.com or call 800-582-0828 today. That's 800-582-0828 for the CSI Companies.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Joe Adib from Bono's. I just want to let you know that we have now reopened all of our dining rooms. We appreciate all the love that you have showed us during this crisis. For over 71 years, we have been here for you through good times and bad. Our award-winning barbecue and our unbelievable staff look forward to seeing you soon. Be safe.
Slot right, blue 42, hot. A great quarterback is a true leader with a work ethic that never wavers and a desire to win that is second to none. We know a truck like that. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling truck 43 years straight. With impressive towing and payload, Ford F-150 makes tough jobs look easy. Visit your local Ford dealer for great offers on F-150, official truck of the NFL. Based on 1977 to 2019 calendar year total sales.
Jags fans, let's get ready for game day. Now, Jaguars football is back, and we can't wait to be Duval together at TIAA Bank Field this fall. Now, before you head to the stadium, make sure you feel 100%. Protecting the team starts with you, so be sure you've got your mask and you practice social distancing from the parking lot to your seats. Visit Jaguars.com/stadium and get answers to all your game day questions. And remember, stay safe, Duval.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports-watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
KP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park Studio at TIAA Bank Field. The Publix Tailgate show rolls along. The Jaguars and the Bengals meet in Week 4. Kickoff in Cincinnati coming up at 1 o'clock. Tickets for the Daly's Place 2021 season on sale now. Great seats available for incredible shows like Tedeschi Trucks Band, Kane Brown, Maren Morris, Alicia Keys, and many more, of course. Go to dailysplace.com for more information and to buy tickets. Time now for first rounds on us.
New York Jets, first round choice. Jeff Lageman.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have selected tackle Southern California, Tony Baselli.
Only way to the top is looking out for number one. And that's us. Keep looking out for number one.
The game today is in Cincinnati, Ohio, on the banks of the Ohio River, but we're on the banks of the St. Johns River. Yeah. We head to the broadcast booth here at TIAA Bank Field, where Tony Baselli and Jeff Lageman will call today's game. Good morning, gentlemen. What's up?
Morning, JP. What's up?
Ready for some football today?
Pumped. Yeah. Can't wait. We're ready. In fact, we're just glad we got a game with the situation kind of unfolding around the league with the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots. You know, we're just glad it's all a go for the Jaguars.
It's amazing. Like if you were at any point thought, oh, we got this thing, 3 weeks in, no positive tests around the league, it can change that quickly at a snap of a finger, guys.
Well, absolutely. And I think, didn't all of us kind of expect at some point you're going to have a hiccup? I mean, it's just impossible. Hey, man, I was like the big pessimist in this. I didn't think that the season would be able to go.
Yeah, I thought we'd play, but I never thght we would get through the entire season without a little bit of what we're seeing, because it's just so hard. You know, you have 50. We're actually like with the practice squad, it's like 68 guys.
Plus IR guys.
Plus IR. I mean, that's
coaching staffs. You mean add 25 to that, and then medical staff.
So make it a lot. Make it 100 people, just rounding,
without being in a bubble.
For each team, it's 3,200 individuals that are out living life as well, and they're trying to make as many good decisions as they possibly can. We saw what happened with Oakland. And what the Raiders did, making a poor choice with some of their players. So it's going to happen, and I think the league's doing the right thing of being cautious, and you got to make sure that that you continue to test, and that you make sure the guys who get it are getting the treatment that they need, and then you try to reschedule and figure out how to do it.
Here's one thing I think that needs to be done. I think all bye weeks need to be eliminated. And when I say eliminated, it means that if you can play and you have a common opponent, for example, let's say the Jaguars and the Colts share the bye week, and I'm not sure if they do. and they have a second meeting that's in December.
Move it up.
They should move it up and get it in the bye week because, the more options that the league has by playing in bye weeks as opposed to, let's just take the bye week because that's where it's at on the schedule. You might need that bye week, at some later date, to make accommodations because of a COVID situation. So, and I know there's talk, and there was an article that came out earlier today about maybe the league going to 12 games. And could that be a possibility? Sure, it could be a possibility, but I think any bye week that's scheduled and you have an opponent that has a future opponent that has a shared bye week, you play. And I think you got to let the teams know that now so that you could have the flexibility later on in the season.
Well, the NFL in the scheduling, and this is one of the weeks that actually there's no division games. And I think there's a couple more weeks down the road as well where there's not a division game. So if anything I could see them doing is collapsing the schedule a little bit and eliminating those weeks where there's not any division games going on to give you more leeway. The other thing that they have done, and I know, is that they have flexibility with the Super Bowl. They can push the playoffs up, and I think out as far as the end of February, where they play the last week in February in Tampa for the Super Bowl. And so there's all kinds of flexibility at the during the season and after the season that the NFL still has. I don't think they're going to do anything drastic unless this becomes a trend and you see this happening week after week with a number of teams.
Here's the other thing, JP and Mike. Cam Newton tests positive on a Saturday, correct? I mean, the news was released on a Saturday.
It was. I think he might have tested positive on Friday, though.
Okay,
Friday night.
Word came out.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's something. I mean, this is interesting now. Okay, so he tests positive on a Friday, and then you're going to try to play this game on Monday or Tuesday. Well, we've seen kind of with the Tennessee Titans, you have an incubation period that could be 6 or 7 days, and the quarterback's in the huddle. Okay, he's talking loud. He's spitting. I mean, look.
It happens.
Would it be safe to assume that the quarterback, who is doing a lot of talking around a lot of people, would it be safe to go ahead and play on a Monday or Tuesday when you have a latency period that could be 5 or 6 days? I mean, I think that's an interesting question.
Well, yeah, I mean, the reality is that, 2 to 3 days is when the majority, it's if you have it, it's going to show up. It can as late as 6 or 7. We've seen that with the Titans. So I don't see that. I cannot see a scenario where the NFL does not cancel or postpone the Patriots game. I just can't see them.
You can't see it happening?
Let
me ask you this.
I can't see them playing Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
I think they have to postpone.
And here's the other thing. If you're a member of the Kansas City Chiefs and you're getting ready to play the New England Patriots, in the back of your mind, are you sitting there going, am I going against a guy?
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't think that matters.
It's just something to think about.
Well, the thing is, too, the Chiefs had a guy in their practice squad test positive.
Yeah, last
Jordan
weekend.
Teamu. So, it wasn't only one team that needed to be retested, but the reporting so far this morning
it's going to play
is that they will play, although teams don't usually get tested on game day. Adam Schefter is reporting that both the Patriots and Chiefs will be tested tomorrow, so they're going to have to clear that round of testing as well to be able to have that game go off. But the supposition is if they do pass that tomorrow, they're going to play that game.
Which is shocking to me just because of the way that you can see tests show up, So
interesting.
It's going to be.
It's very interesting, and it's amazing that we've gone this far without really an interruption. And this is the first weekend that we've had an interruption, and we'll see what happens. But look, I think the league is doing a tremendous job adjusting, in the face of a lot of uncertainty.
All right, guys. Which side of the ball needs a faster start today, defense or offense?
Both. Is there A, B, or C? All of the above. I'll go all of the above because a lot's been made about the defense, rightfully so. I mean, they've been really poor in the first quarter, but it's not like the offense is coming out screaming.
No.
They have 7 points in the first 3 games, if I'm not mistaken. Haven't they been outscored 35-7?
35-7.
And so it's both. And I know a lot's been made of, hey, let's get the ball first and let's, win the coin toss. Well, I mean, there's so many different things that go into that. Like, what if the Bengals win the toss and they want the ball? I mean, are you putting all the chips on the table to win the coin toss and get the ball first?
That is one of the most mindless arguments that there is.
It's
we
silly.
should take the ball, or should we play defense?
How about you just play better?
Play better.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah, play better. And defense, defense got to be a lot better, though.
But for the whole game.
For the whole game. But, the first 3 drives against Miami, we're not talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. If the Miami Dolphins can come out and lay 21 on you in 3 drives, what are the Kansas City Chiefs going to do to this defense in 10 drives in a game? I mean, it's got to be better, and it's got to be better in so many different areas defensively. I mean, it's got to be a better rush, even though they're doing a pretty solid job against the run. I mean, guys are running open in the back end is not doing a good enough job, and you've got some guys back there that one of them's a first-round pick, and it looked like he wasn't even into the game last week on a primetime game. We're playing college rules. I mean, this is not college.
But let's not make too much about that one play.
Here's the thing that bothered me about that play. And look, I think he's a wonderful talent and all that kind of thing, Tony. But when you realize that I forgot to tag him, and you turn and look and you see him running, you see your teammate going over there to get him, might you go over and go, oh, man, that was my bad. I messed up, instead of, it's not a big deal. I mean, come on. I mean, it's got to have a little sense of importance and urgency.
I'm not going to – I get what you're saying, Jeff, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but I just think we make too much of that one play. I mean, I think the kid has had his first 2 games, he played really high-level football, especially the first game. He was outstanding. And he didn't have a great night. He's a rookie. He's a rookie corner. I mean, we forget that, like, corners, especially when you're playing man a lot and doing different things, like, you're going to have bad nights. You're going to have tough plays. And so him not tagging down a guy, let's not forget, that should have been preseason. That should have been preseason number 3 for him.
Here's the other question. Todd Walsh talked this week about how that C.J. Henderson needs to do a better job of getting his hands on guys. Was he referring to that play? Which you just tag him down?
I think he's talking about off the ball, but it's a fair point. It's a fair point.
So, guys, should the offensive rookie of the month, James Robinson, be the focal point of the offense today?
Yes, he's the best player on the field offensively right now. I mean, he just is.
He might be as a team. And as the whole team, he might be the best player on the field.
And the offensive line, until Cam got kicked out of the game, was playing good football. They got to run the ball, and especially against this Bengals defense, which is one of the worst, if not the worst. If you watch them on tape, and they're going to be without Mike Daniels and Geno Atkins again this week, they're bad. And you got to run the ball. He needs to have 25 carries, not touches, 25 carries in this game for them to have a good chance to win.
Yeah, but you got to stop him to keep the score close for him to get 25 carries.
That's fair too.
I mean, that's kind of.
I don't disagree. But I thought they got away from it too early, though. Jeff,
let me ask you this, okay? Let me ask you this. We went into the Thursday night game against the Miami Dolphins, and we said, what about the Jaguars' offense? They should be able to do what? Throw the ball all over the yard, playing man coverage. They didn't cover very well. And the weeks before, the Miami Dolphins' defense not very good. What happened?
It didn't work.
It didn't work. I mean, for us to say that the Jaguars and J-Rob should come out and have 25 carries and run the ball all over the Cincinnati Bengals.
You don't think he should have 25 carries?
No, I mean, look,
you just agreed with me that he's the best player on the offense.
He is, and if he gets 25 carries, my point is that if that's a big assumption that you can do that.
Well,
you still got to have some balance.
You have
to have
balance.
Some defense, play well,
but Jeff,
you get more possessions.
Don't you think they got away from it too early last week against the Dolphins? I know they were down 14-0 and then 21-7.
Yes, because
it was still within reach. They had plenty of time.
You're right, because if you go back to the first game against the Colts, where the Colts came out and scored early,
they hung in there.
And they stuck with the running game at the point where I was like, wow, are they really not that confident in their quarterback, because they're just handing the ball off to this undrafted rookie? I mean, so yes, a totally different change of attitude and the play calling from week 1 to week 3.
All right, guys, we'll be back in a moment with the Geico Fantasy Outlook. PRI Productions, the Southeast full-service event company, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com and learn more. Jags Bengals at 1 o'clock in Cincinnati. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Hanania Subaru of Orange Park would like to present our new dealership with over 13 acres of vehicles to choose from and our new online buying program, iBuy. You decide how much of your buying experience you do online. Browsing, value your trade, picking your payments, financing. Just go to SubaruofOrangePark.com, pick out your vehicle, and click iBuy to begin. Become an iBuy preferred customer at Hanania Subaru of Orange Park, your local Subaru superstore.
I'm Chantel Baker, fiancé of DJ Chark. My fiancé is always prepared with a game day plan, and so am I. I'm always looking for easy ways to save time, and Publix helps me tackle everything from pre-game prep to post-game cleanup with prices that are never out of bounds.
This week at Publix, you can get $2 off when you purchase 2 of assorted varieties and sizes of Old Spice products.
Available at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has the large format printing services running in high gear, creating large banners for marketing events, full vehicle wraps. Learn how Kessler changes the game with print and direct mail innovation. From eye-catching restaurant menus to real estate yard signs and event displays, Kessler does it all. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. Results-driven marketing and a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
Why do you choose Farah and Farah? First, we have the financial resources to take on any insurance company. And our track record proves that we know how to win. Our attorneys and staff are a team, and we've worked together for decades. To us, our job is much more than just a paycheck. We love to help. And this is important. We never forget. It's not about us. It's all about you. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
Census takers are in your neighborhood, so if the future of healthcare is important to you, answer the door. If the future of education matters to you and your kids, answer the census takers' simple questions. The 2020 census is coming to a close. If you haven't been counted yet, your voice will be missing for the next decade. Billions in federal funds will be spent based on who gets counted. You can still respond and help shape the future by saying hello to your friendly census taker, or go to 2020census.gov today.
Welcome back, JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field. The Publix Tailgate show rolls along. The Jags and the Bengals coming up. The inactives have come down from Cincinnati. And we'll start with the Jaguars inactives today. Stephen Hauschka, kicker, inactive. So Aldrick Rosas will handle the placements today for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rosas, a Pro Bowler in 2018 with the New York Giants and a second-team All-Pro that year, in fact. But he was on the practice squad, elevated. He is going to be the kicker today. Jake Luton, the quarterback, inactive. D.D. Westbrook is inactive with DJ Chark back in the fold. Josiah Scott, the corner. Luke Barku, the corner. Brandon Linder still battling that knee issue. He's inactive. And Daniel Equale, who was signed or brought up from the practice squad earlier this week, is inactive for today's game. Mike?
All right, for the Bengals, JP, wide receiver John Ross is a healthy scratch. Guard Keaton Sutherland won't play. Halfback Travian Williams also inactive. Cornerback Mackenzie Alexander. Defensive tackle Geno Atkins. Linebacker Logan Wilson. And kicker Austin Seibert all inactive today for Cincinnati.
There you have it. The inactives are in. Time now for the Geico Fantasy Outlook. Great news. There's a quick way you could save money. Switch to Geico. Go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more on car insurance. We head back upstairs to the booth. Tony and Jeff are back with us. And we welcome in the birthday boy, Frank Frangie. Happy birthday, Frank.
Thank you, JP. Good to be here, ready for another game, and 1 year older. When at my age, JP, you count them all, okay? So 1 year older there, bro.
What age would that be?
So I'm 38 today. So 62 logs.
All right,
62.
all right.
So you're.
But I'm a young 62, Bo. You know that.
Yeah, but you're deep into the back nine.
You kidding?
Is he in the sand trap on that back nine somewhere?
He's deep in the back nine.
These holes matter now, don't they?
Everyone counts, baby.
They all count now, bro. Absolutely right.
Love it. Mike, where do we stand on the Geico Fantasy Outlook?
Well, I'd like to tell Frank that for his birthday he gets to go first this week, but JP earned the honor, Frank.
Really? Even
yes,
after 97 yards from Lamar Jackson, JP goes first.
Yeah, well, he did run for 80-plus, so you got a few points there. Let's see. Last week, Jeff Logman led the way with 98. He had Russell Wilson and Alvin Kamara, and then Tyreek Hill chipped in a little bit as well. So 98 led the way. I had 70, And then the trio of Tony, Frank, and JP, 49, 45, and 44, respectively. Logs at the top right now, 228. I've got 195, a point ahead of JP. Tony's at 169 and Frank at 144.
98 points? That's a big week.
I mean, Russell Wilson
went off.
Five touchdowns, yeah.
80 between them. So there you go. Can't use them again, fortunately, for Jeff. All right, so here's the order. JP, Frank, Tony, myself, and Jeff Logman, quarterback, running back, and either a wide receiver or a tight end. So, JP, the board is yours.
Give me Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, you had this one ready when I walked in this morning, guys. All right, Dak Prescott, and we're off. Frank Frangie.
Alvin Kamara, please.
Okay, everyone's used him now.
Okay.
I haven't, have I?
Yours truly. Yes, you have used him, Tony.
When?
I said you used him in week 2. I sent out the
I disagree with that. I did not.
You would be incorrect.
I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson.
Good luck.
All right.
Well, he's due. Rebound.
Bounce back.
Big bounce back.
I'm very bitter right now.
Lamar Jackson. All right. I will go. I don't think it really matters which way I go here because Logs has used both the first two guys I plan on taking. I'm going to go with James Robinson at running back this week for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Logs, you get back-to-back picks here.
I will take Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf.
Rodgers and Metcalf. All right. I'm going to take Russell Wilson at quarterback, and that leaves Tony on the board.
Let's go Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay, he is active today, we hear, so there's a little question about that.
Oh, there is? I'll back up then. Hold on.
No,
Wait a minute.
You
take him, bro.
Picked him. He's
Take
yours.
He's playing.
Okay, I just want to make sure he's playing.
I just said he's active. Yeah.
Well, the way you said it was very.
I said he's active. There had been
playing.
some question about that. He was
Quit
questionable.
whining. He's
coming
playing.
in today.
Hey,
He's
Frank.
playing.
Yeah.
You and your 62 years, shut up.
I'm bitter.
Frank,
I had 97 yards. I'm a bitter guy.
Alvin Kamara, Frank. Who's next?
And I'm older. I'll take Tyler Lockett, please.
I will Lockett. Okay. Off my list. Thank you very much. JP, you need a running back and a pass catcher.
Aaron Jones.
Okay.
Packers. And you know what? He's going back to Cincinnati. They're going to get in the red zone, and Tyler Eifert's going to have a big day. Tyler Eifert.
Okay, there you go.
Ouch.
Average
Frank,
about
need
2
a
catches
QB.
a game.
I'll-
Sure, JP.
Two touchdowns.
I think I'll take Josh Allen, please.
Josh Allen.
Pass rusher?
Yeah, well, I think he's gonna have a big day.
And Tony, need a running back?
Wow. I'm pulled between Nick Chubb and Dalvin Cook.
I take Dalvin Cook.
But can he go back to back big games? Houston stinks too. Their defense.
They're not good, bro.
Their rush defense.
Take
That means Jeff wants Chubb.
How's Dallas's rush defense? Anyone know?
No.
Not going to help you now. You're on the clock here.
You should have studied beforehand.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I got a feeling, which means Dalvin Cook's going to have a huge game. I'm going Nick Chubb.
Okay. Good. Right. And I'll take Dalvin Cook.
I'm going Mike Evans at wide receiver, and you want Cook, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
All right, Cook it is. All right, here's what we've got. JP's got Dak Prescott, Aaron Jones, Tyler Eifert. Frank is Josh Allen, Alvin Kamara, and Tyler Lockett. Tony goes with Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, and DeAndre Hopkins. I have Russell Wilson, James Robinson, and Mike Evans. And Logs has Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook, and DK Metcalf. Good luck, guys.
All right, there you have it. We'll be back with Tony and Jeff in the final hour on Countdown to Kickoff inside an hour from now for some final thoughts before today's game. Time now for the Frangie File. We visit a little longer with play-by-play man Frank Frangie. 62 years young. I never would have guessed that.
No, and I'm getting up there. JP. They all matter. Okay, they all matter right now when you get older.
And we're going to put you to work on your birthday today.
That's right. I like it. I'm looking forward to the work today. I'm excited about today's, though. I am.
It's a Jags team that's dropped the last two, and we've heard all week, Frank, about this fast start idea, starting faster at least.
Yeah.
That means not giving up back-to-back touchdown drives on defense, but that also means the offense has to punch it in a little earlier now, too.
You're right, JP, but I think it's the former more than the latter. They've got to get off the field a few times in the first quarter and the early second quarter. That's the whole thing for me. I think they have a team. I think the way they're built, I like their line, even though there's no Linder today. James Robinson's obviously a really good player. They found a gem there. He's the kind of guy that you can hand it to him some when you get a lead, right? But you got to get a lead, yeah. So I think somehow being competitive defensively, to your point about fast starts, because you're dead on, finding a way to be competitive defensively, I think, is the key to that. They'll score points. If the offense at JP isn't always playing uphill, playing catch-up, trying to keep up, that's what's hard. The playing catch-up, trying to keep up is hard. So that's on the defense. And look, this is a team with a lot of weapons. I mean, Joe Burrow's a good player, but he's not alone. I mean, if Mixon's healthy, he's going to play. He's got a couple 1,000-yard seasons. A.J. Green's got 6,000-yard seasons. Tyler Boyd now has 2,000-yard seasons. So this is a good a collection of offensive players they got to stop today.
Frank, to do that, to get some pass rush on Joe Burrow, who's been sacked 14 times, do you expect to see the blitz cranked up today?
I would think there'll be some more exotic stuff than we've had before, Mike. I don't know what it is, but, yeah, I would think you're going to have to do some different stuff. I don't think you can sit back there and be vanilla against a young quarterback who's feeling it more and more, who's a really good player one day will be, who's starting to feel it more and more. Yeah, I think you'll see – I'm not smart enough to know what it is. Jeff and Tony are. They're smarter than me. They know football. But I think it's going to look different defensively, whatever that means today, Mike, than it's looked in the past. I think they've got to try and find some things.
DJ Chark's back in the fold this week, and we heard from Jay Gruden this week, the offensive coordinator, and they didn't really find out until Wednesday afternoon that he wasn't going to be available for Thursday Night Football, and it was a little late to change a lot of things. He's back. Obviously, when he's on the field, it opens a lot of things up, not only for him, but for the other guys in the wide receiver room.
You know, someone asked me, I think Tony asked me on our 1010XL pregame today, did he losing him matter more than people thought, because everyone talked about how good the receivers are, well, as a group. Well, I think the answer to that is yes. It really hurt not having him because he's learned how to play. Now, you asked that question in 10 weeks, JP, when Laviska Shenault's played more, when he's gotten off jams more, when he's learned how to get off jams in the NFL, when he's learned about NFL cornerback speed, then maybe those two guys are more even. DJ Chark has learned how to play. So not having him last week, D.D. Westbrook is still coming off a lot of inactives. Chris Conley didn't play well. Yeah, it really hurt the team. So having him back is a big, big, big deal to that passing game. Again, 10 weeks from now, maybe not as much. Right now, critical loss last week. Great to have him back this week.
Frank, we always talk about guys going up against their former teams, and JP alluded to it in our fantasy picks with Tyler Eifert. Do you expect him to have a big impact on today's game?
I think some impact. I think the bigger impact is the return of Chark. The way it looks like they're going to, just from the game so far, Mike, the way it looks like they're going to use Eifert is in situational roles. It looks like when they're in blocking situations, he's not in there. Looks like when he's in there, they're always in 11 personnel at the very least. He's always going to be flanked out. He's almost sort of a hybrid player. So you got to get into that situation. I think he'll have some catches. Do I think he's going to have 10 catches and 2 scores? Probably not. But I think he will play well. There will be let's get Tyler the ball some. But first and foremost is winning the game. So I think we'll see him some, Mike. I don't think necessarily in a dominant role.
Frank Frangie with us from the broadcast booth here in Jacksonville. The game is in Cincinnati today. That is the world we're living in. The Jaguars have another kicking issue. Steven Hauschka is inactive today. They just signed him this week, and he was on the injury report before he's even kicked in a game for the Jaguars. Now Aldrick Rosas, who was also signed on the same day to the practice squad, is going to kick today for the Jags. Concerning, obviously, right, for head coach Doug Marrone. It has to be, though Rosas does have experience. He wasn't a Pro Bowler a few years ago.
Yeah, 2 thoughts. Number one, can you get a worse break than that?
Oh, no.
The one guy on your team who might be the best player in the league at his position goes down. That's in a position where you don't get hurt very often. So that one, losing Lambeau probably was understated. Man, oh man, that as good as he is, that one hurt. Here's the deal with Rosas. He hasn't played very much, but he's got a cannon leg, JP. So it wouldn't. So is he as likely as Hauschka would have been to make 3 41-yarders? Probably not. But if you have to late in the half or even late in the game, line one up from 58, he's probably more likely to make that one. So what you get is a cannon-legged guy, but not a guy who's kicked as much. I'm interested to watch him, though. I'm interested to watch a guy that can kick it that far. And but, yeah, not having Josh Lambeau is a gigantic deal for this team. Of course it is.
Yeah, a little more time for him on the shelf. We'll see if he can get back healthy. Frank, have a great call, and happy birthday again. We'll hear from you in a little less than an hour from right now.
Okay, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Frank Frangie will be back with us in Countdown to Kickoff when network coverage begins. This season, the Jags have launched predictive gaming exclusively in the Jags mobile app. Choose a bingo card, pick your favorite 3 players, and place wagers to win prizes. Check the games out on the mobile app and do it right now ahead of today's game, the Jags and the Bengals. Coming up, a visit with the Ozone. Jaguars.com senior writer joins us all the way from his house in Jacksonville ahead of this Jaguars-Bengals matchup today. Jaguars Radio Network coverage begins at noon with countdown to kickoff. We're a little over an hour away from Week 4 in the National Football League. The Jags and the Bengals at 1 o'clock. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is Jaguars Radio.
Some things make a house your home. Like a quick heating oven that makes the aroma of warm chocolate chip cookies your thing. When cooking with natural gas, you get the best temperature control, save money, and earn a rebate up to $200. Who wants cookies? Your home. Our safe, reliable, efficient energy. Love natural gas. Find rebate details at peoplesgas.com.
Hey Jags fans, it's Ashlyn Sullivan
and Eric Dunn,
here to tell you about our new
at-home
game day experience.
Each game, home or away, we're giving out cash prizes at the end of each quarter, totaling $10,000.
Cash?
Yes, cash money, y'all. Join us at www.jagsathome.com and play along.
Yeah, but we gotta tell them how to play.
Right, that's the easy part.
While you're watching the game on your big screen, visit www.jagsathome.com on your mobile device, tablet, or desktop, and answer Jags trivia and predictive gaming questions that appear on your screen.
The fan with the most points at the end of each quarter will take home a piece of the $10,000 cash prize.
And the leaderboard will refresh at the start of each quarter, giving you multiple chances to win even more cash.
www.jagsathome.com. Home and away.
We will see you all this Sunday at jagsathome.com.
Floridians know what it means to stand together. That's why Florida Blue is committed to the people of Florida by providing health care with lower costs and higher quality. Enroll within 60 days of life-changing events, such as losing your job, to get benefits like plans as low as $0 a month and up to $500 per year towards your premiums and wellness rewards. Call 1-800-750-0164 or visit floridablue.com/care today. Florida Blue is a trade name of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, Incorporated. These health benefit plans have limitations and exclusions.
It's your home speaking, and I need you to do me a couple of favors. First, could you get that blueberry that rolled under the fridge last week? It's throwing my feng shui off. Second thing, bundle your home and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and we could save money. Lastly, I know you were thinking of painting the nursery back to off-white, but I'm actually feeling this baby blue. Didn't think it was my color, but I am pulling it off.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
Jaguars fans, let's tackle social injustice together on game days with Selfies for Change. Visit TIAABank.com/selfies for change to take a virtual selfie with a Jaguars player and unlock a $5 donation to the Jaguars Foundation to help fight social injustice. Share your photo on Instagram or Twitter using hashtag Selfies for Change so more fans can be part of the movement. Join us on game days at TIAABank.com/selfies for change. TIAA Bank is the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Final moments of the Publix Tailgate Show, the Jaguars and the Bengals, coming up at 1 o'clock at Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. Saving you money on car insurance has been in Geico's playbook for over 75 years. So what are you waiting for? After the game, get a quote at geico.com. Time now for a visit with the Ozone.
The Ozone.
Jaguars.com senior writer John Oehser joins us from his house ahead of the Jags-Bengals matchup. Good morning still, John. What's up?
It is good morning, and in the grand tradition of Saturday Night Live, saving the best for squeezing it in at the end.
Okay, well, it's okay. I mean, we at least we squeezed you in at the end. I mean, the alternative is not ideal. Hey, so it's a big game, obviously, for the Jaguars today. They've dropped the last two. They haven't started well. They've been outscored in the first quarter, 35-7 and all that. It feels like today they have to get something accomplished on those fronts for this thing. 1-3 is a big difference from 2-2, obviously, John.
Well, it feels mammoth, and maybe it wouldn't be for every team, a more experienced team. But when you're talking about a young team going 1-3 with all the accompanying noise in the system that would come, it's a big game perception-wise, but I do believe it's a big game for these young guys. They know what the Bengals were last year. The Bengals are better, but they're also a team that you should match up well and be able to compete with.
Well, they're a team that's been allowing a lot of pass rush, as Joe Burrow's been sacked 14 times, John, but the Jaguars have not been getting to the quarterback, not with any kind of consistency. So what gives today?
What gives in terms of Bengals pass rush?
Right. Does the Jags pass rush get there, or does the Bengals protection stand up today?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be 8 sacks like the Eagles had last week. I've got to believe there's a little more pressure brought from Todd Wash. I've got to believe that the Jaguars get home a little bit compared to what they've been. I would say the max of 3 sacks, because I just don't see with the Jaguars where a huge number is going to come from. And frankly, guys, this game worries me. I think the Bengals are getting good. And I think if they don't get to Burrow, it's going to be really, really tough. They've got to figure out a way. 3 would be a good number. Maybe you get a turnover off one of those and stay in the game.
John Oehser with us, Jaguars.com senior writer. James Robinson, the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Month of September. I think you asked him the question in his video conference this week. Is this cool? Is this cool? And in his modest way, he said, well, yeah, John, it's kind of cool, but he's not really dwelling on all that.
Yeah, and it wasn't exactly a knock it out of the park journalism 101 question, but for 5 or 6 conference calls, whatever it is, he's been before the media 3 or 4 times, and he really strikes you as just being so focused, so low key, and so sort of not nonchalant, but doesn't want to show any emotion. So if I wanted to find out, is this fun at all? And he kind of smiled and said, yeah, I'd be lying if it wasn't pretty cool. But the bottom line on this guy, I don't care if he smiles or not. He's very efficient, very good at a lot of different things. I don't know if he's ever going to be 1,800-yard Pro Bowl guy, but he's sure a good runner who can make your offense better, and he's very, very efficient. He gets them in a lot of good down and distance. That's what he needs to do that Leonard couldn't do.
And John, DJ Chark didn't have big numbers in the first couple games of the season, but his presence was there. They had a lot of offense, and he wasn't there last week, and the passing game struggled. So how much impact do you think his return to the lineup means today?
Well, as I was thinking about this game this week, that sort of stood out more than anything. We might find out really what DJ Chark means, meaning a great offensive performance in 2 games with him, bad without him. I think there's a lot to the fact that he draws a lot of defenders to him. He makes big plays. It's not surprising if once a half he makes a play above the X's and O's that keeps him on the field. Those 3rd down conversions are big. I don't know that he goes for 150 today, but his presence is a big deal. If they put up 24, 27, all of a sudden you can start pointing to DJ Chark as maybe the most important player in this offense.
We touched on the pass rush, but Doug Marrone and a few others, of course, this week have said it's more than just a defensive line issue. They've got to disrupt routes on the outside, and that leaves it up to a relatively inexperienced secondary to try to disrupt things out there, to maybe give a little more time up front to the front 4 here. Are they up to that task, and how much of a difference can that make up front?
Well, I think Todd Wash, defensive coordinator, gave us a little bit of a hint on Wednesday. He talked about C.J. Henderson and even Trey Herndon not having their hands on wide receivers early in routes right off the line as much. I think you're going to see that more. It sounded like C.J. sort of watched film and him and Todd talked, and it was like, okay, I get it. Here's what I have to do. So I think they'll be a lot closer to the line of scrimmage trying to, quote, disrupt routes. They've got to do something. This pass rush isn't good enough to cover a poorly playing secondary or vice versa. These guys have to grow up together because Burrow is dangerous.
How important is it for Gardner Minshew to bounce back this week, John, as this season in large part is going to be a referendum on his future here?
You know, it's amazing. In all the conversations this week, because of all the slow start stuff, Gardner almost didn't get discussed that much, at least in my forums where I was. Every game is vital for him. He didn't look good against the Dolphins, against the umbrella zone and all that stuff we've all talked about. I'm sure the Bengals will throw that at him. He's got to start getting better against that, or else it's going to be the book on him, and it's going to be the thing that defines his early career. So at some point, he's got to get better against that. As you indicated, Mike, every game it's critical for him to bounce back, play well, whatever. He's the quarterback. It's critical.
All right, Osh, enjoy the day at home, I guess, and covering this football game today. We'll look forward to your tweets throughout the game, your writing after the game. Look at if you're watching on @Jaguars, he's so relaxed in his office space there.
I am.
I noticed he sat up straighter though when the camera first came on. You know, he's kind of slumped down in his chair, and he looked like he was at attention the rest of the time.
That's what happens when the light comes on. Osier's always there.
He's ready to go.
He is. Have a great day.
Yeah, that's what they say, isn't it, JP?
That's exactly what they say. We'll talk to you a little later down the line, John. Have a great day. John
All right,
Osier.
guys. Thank you.
John Osier, senior writer, Jaguars.com, joining us from his house. And, yes, give him a follow on Twitter throughout the game as well. He'll keep you posted on everything going on as we do as well. And there's a lot to get to today. The Jags trying to get back on track. 2-game slide after the win on opening week and then a loss in Tennessee. And they came back to tie that game but just couldn't get the winning result in Nashville that day. And then last week, of course, Thursday Night Football. That leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth, a performance like that.
Yeah, you've had extra time to prepare. I mean, 2-2 will sound like light years better than 1-3. 1-3, you're going to feel like it's spinning out of control.
That's it for the Publix Tailgate Show. We'll return with network coverage. Countdown to kickoff. Pete Prisco joins us. Fred Taylor with us. And a final word with head coach Doug Marrone. An hour away from Week 4. The Jaguars and the Bengals coming up in Cincinnati. And this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.